Hardy fiber cement siding is proven to withstand water, pests, and fire better than wood-based siding. And it looks better while doing it. Hardy siding has been chosen for 10 million homes and counting. See the proof at jameshardy.com.
And boom!
Common man, no show prep, no solid plan. Spins a yarn, begins a tale. The esoteric approach won't fail. Tune in, it's time for Common Man. Common man, charms the housewives like no one can. What'd you shoot? Where'd we play? Non-stop nonsense on deck today. Tune in, it's time for Common Man.
Oh, boy. Why should anybody aspire to be a common man, an average man? Do you realize what it means to be average? That means you're the best of the lousiest, and the lousiest of the best. Now, if we demand more and more for producing less and less, while the have-not nations encourage and inspire and indeed require hard work and maximum effort, if we deify the common men while they encourage and reward the uncommon ones, well, the end result of such a lopsided race as that is too obvious to require elaboration.
I mean, it's like, hello?
The war has not been restored.
Lions roared loud and proud, ready for the fight. High hopes and dreams, paving our night. But every roar turned into a sigh as we watched our season die. Detroit streets.
3 receivers left. Robinson to the left of Daniels, who stands on the right hash. Now he'll shift to his right. Helmet high, shotgun snap. The give is to Robinson into the end zone for a Washington touchdown, and the Commanders take a 9-7 lead.
The mighty fall. Oh, we blew it right from our hands. So close to glory, but can't withstand. Now the echoes of our cheers fade away as our high hopes decay.
First down and 10 at the 41. They'll swing the pass out to the left side. It's McLaurin. Breaks 2 tackles down the left sideline to the 40. McLaurin motoring to the 30. Inside the 20. Still on his feet at the 10. And he'll dive into the end zone for a Washington touchdown. Terry McLaurin takes it 59 yards. And the Commanders are back on top, 16-14. Reynolds in motion on the right side of the line to the slot right. And a shotgun snap to Goff. Out of an empty backfield, looking left all the way. Throws it left, a wobbler, and it's intercepted. Picked off, and down the sideline goes Quan Martin. Breaks a tackle at the 10. Martin inside the 5. He's going to take it all the way for a Washington touchdown.
Oh, we blew it right from our hands. So close to glory, but can't withstand. Now the echoes of our cheers fade away as our high hopes decay.
Out of the shotgun, 3rd down, Daniels to throw, looking for Ertz. He's got it just across the goal line for a Washington touchdown. Zach Ertz scored 7 in the regular season. This one in the postseason gives Washington a 30-21 lead.
But can't withstand.
2nd and goal inside the 1. Robinson to the left of Daniels. 3 receivers right from the shotgun. Daniels gets the snap, the give to Robinson, up the middle, into the end zone for a Washington touchdown. And the 2nd time tonight that Brian Robinson has scored. It's now 37-28 Commanders.
We stumbled and cursed.
First down and 10 from the 46. They fake the toss, flip it to St. Brown, now to Williams, who wants to throw down the right sideline, and the pass is intercepted. It's picked off by Mike Sainristil at the 34-yard line. He wanted to throw it to Gibbs, and it's intercepted. What are you doing?
As our high hopes decay.
The running back is Jeremy McNichols to the right of Jaden Daniels, who gets the shotgun snap, hands it to McNichols, tries to cut it left, powers his way toward the goal line, reaching the football out for a Commanders touchdown. zone. The Washington Commanders put 6 more on the board and lead it 44-28 in a Motor City stunner.
The Lions are a terrible team and a terrible city. No terrible fans and a terrible stadium. And terrible uniforms. And terrible trivia.
3rd down and 10 at the 17. Goff will throw over the middle, and it's intercepted. Jeremy Chin will slide down at the 8 and slide into the NFC Championship game with the Commanders. 25 seconds remain. The 3rd interception thrown by Goff, the 4th thrown by the Lions today, and the Washington Commanders are going to the NFC Championship.
Oh, that after we go. The war has not been restored.
We blew it right from our hands. So close to glory, but can't withstand. Maybe it's hives. Now the echoes of our cheers fade away. Maybe it's Avatar. As our hopes decay.
The song is entitled "We Blew It." It's by a brand new band out of the Motor City. It's called Daniel and in the Lion's Den. Well done, Tennessee. I texted you earlier. I said, if you're planning on doing a montage, don't do sad eyes. And the reason I said that is I was convinced I got hundreds of emails from people said, if you're going to do a montage for the kiddies, you can't use sad eyes.
That's the rule?
Well,
unwritten rule?
Well, unwritten rule, and I understood it. The explanation was that's reserved for Minnesota sports fans.
Yeah.
Sportsmen.
That's ours.
Yeah, that's ours. You can't.
We take ownership of that.
Yeah, and so, and I think you agreed with me. And then you found...
I was going to do sad eyes.
Yeah. And, but I think it's only right, I think, to respect the woeful shortcomings and inadequacies of all the Minnesota sports teams that we don't share that song just because I'm a Kitties fan. So yeah, there you go. It is what it is. It's a done deal. I'm still all the headlines and all the media and all the seem to act like it was just, whoa, what a major upset, what a stunner. Do people really feel that way about what happened? Had they not been paying attention to the Lions the last few weeks of the season? I mean, where's the numbers? I've got them here somewhere. Last 6 games of the regular season and playoffs for the Lions, they gave up 31 to the Packers, 48 to the Bills, 17 to the Bears, but the Bears are terrible, 34 to the 49ers. The one that just sticks out like a sore thumb, Vikings 9.
You've got to be kidding me.
And the Commanders 38. So they're averaging giving up 30 points a game. I don't know why people thought that. I still don't know why they were a 9-point favorite, but Washington's a good club, Tennessee.
I think it's one of those where people didn't know how good Washington was, or Washington was, because they're not playing primetime games, primetime slots, right? They're kind of being hidden at noon, and only the people in Washington are watching them and whoever they're playing.
And they must not be paying attention to Detroit's defense as well, because I've tried to insist to people week after week after week for the past 5-6 weeks that the other shoe is going to drop. This team, last year's Lions club, they got to the NFC Championship game, and I felt much better about last year's team than I did this year's team once the injuries started to pile up on defense. And that it was important of things to come. Second play of the game, Amik Robertson breaks his arm. Did you see that? Did you watch any of the game? Or you were out? I
was out of town. At one point, we were in kind of the pool area, and it was on TV. So there's certain plays I've seen, but I was not watching it.
Well, he broke his arm. Second play of the game. He got hit by one of his teammates, and we were trying to make a tackle, and he got his arm pinned between the Washington ball carrier and the Lions defensive player, his teammate, and he left the field, and you could see by the look on his face it was bad. I mean, it wasn't just like, hey, I'm going to shake this off. I'm going to eat some dirt and rub a little Robitussin on it. And it was announced he was out. So, and, you know, he's a good player. He's not even a great player. But they had one guy they put in, and they said, This is Joe Bag of Donuts. This is his first snap this season. No! He's in the secondary. First snap of the season.
Biggest game of the season. Get on out there.
And go ahead. Go out there, kid. Let's see what you got. So it was a beatdown. And it's here's my favorite part is, and I get it, people trying to troll me and get me going, with they're sending me the Cesar Romero delicious sounder, the Packer fans.
Sure.
They're so bitter. And I wonder if they even realize that it really doesn't faze me in any way. Matter of fact, I beat everybody to the punch. I didn't do the Cesar Romero thing, but I started sending out, I did the chairs thing with the Lions because they look like chairs, sent out pictures of chairs. You could see it coming all the way. And so, it is. And you can always tell the people that are really bothered by, these are the people that have gotten under their skin for all these years, and now they're just so excited to finally be able to give it back to me. Because, how about this, Tennant? You'll love this. This is, I have to find him. I saved him. Where did they go? I think maybe. Well, I'll find them later, but I saved a couple of my favorites from people responding on Twitter with their glee that the Lions lost. And if you can't be historically good, biblically bad. So, and then, I went back to my routine Viking cheap shots during the games yesterday, and people were wondering why I wasn't ripping the Lions. I said, nobody here in this town cares about the Lions, well, except for me and a couple of others. It's back to business as usual. I think more people here care about the Vikings, and the results over the weekends and some of the games that happened. I don't know how the Vikings played as poorly against the Rams in Detroit. Well, they weren't awful against the Rams in Detroit, but how they lose to those teams, I don't know. They've got a lot of things that they have to correct, and we'll talk about that as the day goes by. A number of other items as well, and controversial Vikings news. Tennessee, you got a keyword?
Actually, it's off today because of the holiday, but the keyword will be back tomorrow.
Perfect. We'll take a short break. Come back with more here after this on the Fan.
Want to chime in on your favorite KFAN program? Yeah, make your voice heard on the Bradshaw and Bryan text line. Let us know what you have to say by texting your message to 64686. That's 64686. Standard message and data rates apply.
I think Tennessee, the issue with a lot of people is they wanted me and expected me to be like they are when their team loses. Bitter, angry, sullen, withdrawn. I've been a season ticket holder for 35 years, and I'm done with this club.
They want you to feel the pain they're feeling.
Yes, and I don't feel that pain anymore. I got rid of that with the throw pillow game back in 2000. It's just, I enjoy the losing as much as I do the winning. And you got to remember, Tennessee, the woebegone franchise that is the Motor City Kitties, I only saw them in one other NFC Championship game. That was back in 1991, right? And since then, it's just been nothing. A couple of wild card appearances and bounced. So it's not, I understand if you're a Vikings fan, you've been to the mountaintop, or 4 times you've been to the big game. And I experienced all of those as a Vikings fan. I grew up in Minnesota. I have 2 favorite teams, and I don't think there's a problem with that. And then they, 0-6, they've been to 6 NFC Championship games. And so I understand, and they've had other times they've made the playoffs where they didn't get they didn't advance in the playoffs. Maybe got bounced in the first round or maybe in the divisional round. So I get it. I understand your pain. I've not experienced any of it until the last 2 years. It's kind of fun. Well, it is. It's fun. Yeah, you lose. Okay. But at least I'm playing in meaningful games. There's some butterflies going around. It's kind of fun. Now, if this happened year after year after year, I might become like a Viking fan or a Packer fan. I mean, now Packer fans, of course, they have all sorts of big games. They're waiting for. They already have one for the thumb. I think they're trying to get to their 6. But it's just I don't. It just isn't that. It's It's Wheel of Topic season now. That's right around the corner. Did you see Frankie Sappin, by the way? Finished tied 12. He made $169,400.
That's a nice payday.
He's made almost $200,000 in the last 2 weekends. How would you like to have him come and say, hey, how'd you like to come to Palm Springs and play 4 rounds of golf and we'll give you $170,000?
Sounds good to me.
What do you think? And now he's in the next 2 events. He's playing at Torrey Pines this week, and then he's playing in the Waste Management. Now the fields will be much tougher now. The last 2 events he played in, the one over in Hawaii and then the one here, there were some talented players. I'm not suggesting there weren't, but it's not going to be as deep as the fields are now. He jumped 11 spots in the world rankings. So he needs to get inside the 100 to get more events. But yeah, so good for him. Kid from North
Just
Oaks.
adding to the talent that Craig Warren has worked with.
Well, think about it. That's what I told you. I said, think about it. Frankie Sappin has the same swing coach you and I do. Oh, yeah. Oh, Frankie? Oh, sure, I know Frankie. I have the same swing coach as Frankie. I told you one time, right, where Craig said to me, with my elite players, I teach them how to breathe properly. And I go, well, you've not taught me that. And then I thought about it for a second. I thought, I see. I'm not one of your elite players. Don't bother coming. Just here. You're just trying to hit the ball straight. That's why anytime he gives me lessons, like, for instance, on the sand game, you ever watch the pros on TV? They open way up, and they have their blade they're 60 degrees wide open. Craig says, Common, just treat it like a regular chip shot. Hit behind the ball, but just treat it like a regular chip shot. Don't open up the blade, face the target. And I said, why is that? He goes, well, the soul of the club nowadays, the way they make them, you don't need to open it way up. And I think he's also saying, Common, I know you're just trying to get it out of the bunker, and that's the best way to get it out of the bunker.
I just want it anywhere on the green. That's all I want.
That's all I do want, so that's why I've gone
I'm not thinking up and down.
No.
I'm thinking let's avoid triple.
Oh, and what's really good is if you can hit it really close, then you just feel so good. And then the best part is climbing out of the bunker and then lifting your foot and tapping the sand off with your club. You ever do that, the head of your club?
Oh, yeah.
God, I love doing that.
Believe me, I've experienced it quite a bit.
Yeah, that's so much fun. But you only tap the sand if you hit a good shot. You don't want to be tapping the sand like, oh, look at me. Oh,
well, you don't want the sand going all over the green.
But then you just go over and you wipe it off in the grass. You just don't do the tapping. The tapping is supposed to be like, what? Look at me. So, anyway. But the Detroit was within 31-28 early in the fourth quarter, Tenna. They had the Commanders facing 4th and 2 from the Lions' 5. A stop could have changed the game, but guess what? The Lions were called. Viking fans will remember this from 2009, 12 men on the field.
You've got to be kidding me.
12 men on the field. That was enough for a first down. They had 1st and goal from the 2, and 2 plays later, they punched it in, and that was the game. And they showed the replay of the sideline, and there's guys going, get off. And it's like, why isn't Campbell calling a timeout there? He's got some dopiness to him, I think. It's
sure.
Like, you have to call a timeout there. You can't allow that to happen. The way Washington was moving the ball, I don't think Detroit would have stopped him anyways.
Yeah.
I really don't. But if you do, you get the ball back and you're only down 3. And that's early in the fourth quarter. Now you're still, despite the fact that your defense is just simply awful and hasn't. The only time they stopped Washington, I think, maybe late in the game they had one other stop, but they stopped them on the first possession. And that's all only because Washington tried some kind of a trick sort of play where they had, who's their backup quarterback? Mariota?
Yep.
He comes in, he goes in motion, then he stands behind center, he gets it. He's going to flip it back to Daniels. But the Lions got some push on it, and he got smacked into by his own lineman and just fell down on the ground, and the Lions got the ball. So it was just a blundered play on their point. And then Ben Johnson tried to get too cute. I tweeted out right away, well, there goes job offers for head coach. He earlier in the game, they'd done a trick play, a reverse with the Jamison Williams kid.
Yes.
And I don't know if you saw the play.
I saw the highlight, yeah.
He was brilliant. Well, then, again, here we are in the fourth quarter sometime, and he tries to call the same thing, but he's going to have Williams throw the ball instead. Is it Williamson or Williams?
Jamison Williams.
They're going to have him throw the ball instead. And, of course, Washington's waiting for it. They got triple coverage, and he throws the ball. It's like, for those that follow the Lions, the Williams kids might not be the brightest guy in the team. You don't put the game in his hands at that point. It was 3rd and 1. Give the ball to Gibbs, who was brilliant again. Give him the football. That's just trying to show everybody how smart I am. Yep. We already know. You're a genius. Everybody wants. You've got coaching jobs. Don't do it. And Campbell even said after the game, the quote was, I probably would have liked to have seen a run there. So, so Johnson's calling. That's why I had a couple people say, you're dopey Dan Campbell in his trick plays. He ain't calling plays, folks. He doesn't call any of them. He's not a KOC. You have some head coaches that call plays. Yeah. I think Shanahan, McVay, Reed. KOC, Reed. There's probably others as well. I'm not sure who they are. But Campbell ain't calling any plays. I don't think he's bright enough to. And Johnson's, good at what he does. But yeah, and then at that point, Washington just grounded out and ate up 4.5 minutes on the clock, scored another tutty, 45-28, game, set, match. Game is over. So, but again, I saw these, some of these. Hold on, I'll give you this one first. This one says, this was a response to one of my tweets. Lions are a good, tough team, but they had a ton of injuries on defense and were making do with guys off the street. It put a lot of pressure on their offense, and it finally caught up to them. That's what happened. Even now, if their defense had been at full strength, would they have been able to beat Washington? We'll never know. But I'm glad there are some people that see the game clearly. Even the Fox crew afterwards, after talking about how great Washington was and how wonderful they did, both Howie Long and Bradshaw said, you can't suffer those kinds of injuries. And, it's like they were, it was like they were, it wouldn't be a good example. It's like they were on a tightrope. It was Carl Wallenda. And finally the wind blew too strong, just like Papa get down. Carl plummeted to his death. I think it was in Puerto Rico. Maybe even been in Detroit. I don't remember, but those kinds of things happen. We'll take a peek at the purple on the other side of the break, Tennessee. Got plenty to get to on the Vikings, and we'll do that next here on The Fan.
Head over to our contest page and enter for your chance to win an Adam movie code. Good for 2 tickets to see Flight Risk, starring Mark Wahlberg, in theaters January 24th. That's KFAN.com. Keyword contest to enter today.
Debbie, I don't know if when you tweet, if you check your responses and what you make of them. There are several people that I think they need long-term psychiatric care. There's something deep-seated inside them. And I can't wait to hear from those people. Now, I look for here's what I got. I won't mention who it is. There's no need to. But it's a regular, I think there's mental illness here. Here's what it says. Your teams still suck as much as your golf game from the ladies' tees. And I'm thinking to myself, what is wrong with that person? I guess I've gotten under his skin to the point where I get it. He's bitter about his Vikings club or whatever team it is he cheers for. And then he's mad that his golf game isn't any good and he doesn't get to play golf and he hates Wheel of Topic. And just relax, man. Just calm down. It's all good. We're all friends here. It's all good. Your team still suck as much as your golf game from the ladies' tees. I just can't get enough. Time for Peek at the Purple, brought to you by our friends at Affordable Electric. Leave your electrical issues to Affordable. Outlets, switches, control panels, or installing indoor-outdoor lighting. Affordable Electric is your dependable, honest, and affordable electrician. Visit affordable-electric.com. Affordable Electric is shockingly affordable. whoops, I turned off the mic. Sorry about that. After watching the games over the weekend, I'm now more convinced than ever, and I think most people have come to this conclusion. It's probably time to move on to Darnold and see what the young kids got. These young quarterbacks have so much. The Daniels kid for Washington is just so talented. I mean, he was exceptional. Apparently, he's been like that all season long.
Yes.
I think prior to that, the beatdown in Motown, I think they said they won their last 5 games on the last play of the game. Did I read that right?
Yeah, they've had lots of things. Yeah, lots coming right down the way.
And you know,
remember the Hail Mary game versus Chicago.
Yeah, that's right. And those are the things I look for in a quarterback. You know, I've talked about it. You can do your quarterback ratings and your yards per pass and, you know, touchdown to interception ratio and all those sabermetrics and analytics, which, you know, they are useful in evaluating quarterback talent. But you've heard me say it a million times. Give it to me when you let me see what a kid can do, or any quarterback, when it's you got to score. You got to go the length of the field and score a tutty on the last drive of the game, and you got no timeouts or one, especially if you're on the road. You know, what can you do? And apparently Washington's been able to do that.
Well, with him too, it's not just the fact that they have a better quarterback play.
Yeah.
Like, he has elevated the play of everyone around, right? Like, the defense is playing better because they have confidence and they believe in who they have instead of just going through the motions. Like, the entire team is playing better because of him.
Yes. And, you know, all season long, we've been searching for who's the coach of the year, and KOC seems to have been a front runner in most people's eyes.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's Dan Quinn. Now, I know you're not supposed to take playoffs into consideration. Sure. This was a team that won 4 games last year. 4.
He's doing it with a rookie quarterback.
And he's doing it with a rookie quarterback. Now, again, I give more credit to the quarterback. Are they calling Dan Quinn a quarterback whisperer?
He's a defensive guy, but yes.
Right. But why aren't they calling him a quarterback whisperer? You know, it's that's why that quarterback whisperer stuff, I think, gets to be a bit overrated. But is it Kingsbury? Kingsbury's their guy? And maybe he's a quarterback whisperer. Maybe
he was with Arizona previously. He was a head coach at Arizona with Kyler.
Correct.
That didn't go well. And
then, you know, the other quarterbacks that are still playing. I mean, Mahomes, there's nothing more to say, right? Though I saw a lot of. I was kind of half watching that game as I was in the man grotto and I was doing my monthly dusting and vacuuming and such like that. So I wasn't watching it. I wasn't locked in. But I also saw that there were a lot of complaints about the referee, and they showed the one play, and then Aikman was right. I mean, in refs, I get it. They'll throw flags. We see it all the time. Generally speaking, in every National Football League game, there's a call or two, either a penalty that should have been called that wasn't, or a penalty that should have been called and wasn't, or was called and shouldn't have been. A flag shouldn't have been thrown. And they had the roughing on Mahomes. It's like, no, he didn't. He did. There was no roughing on that, but is it because it's Patrick Mahomes? Is that what it is? Or did the ref just not see it? Because there's that suspicion there. You know, right away, people are saying, well, they're tanking it, right? Or not tanking. The referees are, you know, they're rigging it for Kansas City. They're taking care of Mahomes. Do you believe that, or do you think the ref just doesn't see some?
Well, you know me, I'm a Mahomes apologist. Yeah. I think he's the greatest NFL player I've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that was one I was watching live. I watched the first quarter live, and then I didn't see the rest because we went to a hockey game. But I watched the first quarter, and that play specifically, I don't know if it was either my live view or the first replay they showed. I thought that was helmet to helmet.
Yeah.
And then every replay they showed after that was kind of like the angle from behind, and you couldn't get a great look. I was like, well, why didn't you go back to that original angle that I thought it was head-to-head or face-to, or whatever you call it? Yeah, head-to-head contact. So I'm not sure the angles they were showing were the most favorable view of that play.
Yeah.
But I think it's now just gotten to the point where it's fashionable to say, oh, Mahomes just gets all the calls, Mahomes gets all the calls, when there's actually been like documented stories about that's not the case.
Quack, quack.
Your favorite team, at least one of your favorite teams is still alive. The rest of us
the other two have not performed very well in the playoffs.
The rest of us
I got one available.
Well, anyway, there were a lot of complaints. That wasn't the only call. There were a lot of other complaints, and it seemed that most of the calls did go, the questionable ones did go against the Texans. But I still don't. I'm certainly not of the opinion that that's the reason they won the game. But there's nothing to be said.
But the other one, where because I did see the replay of it, I didn't watch it live, but I did see the replay of the Mahomes scrambling, and then he slides, and the two guys jump.
That was the one I was talking about.
Oh, I thought we were talking about a different one.
No, that was the one I was. I
thought you were talking about the one where he was hit to the head late after he threw a ball in the first quarter. And
I was talking about the one where there should never been thrown.
That's okay. That's a different one. Yeah. So that was going to be the one I was going to say. Okay, I would say you could argue that one's not a flag because it drives me crazy how quarterbacks abuse that rule.
That's
now.
what Aikman was saying, and he's right.
They know they can slide. They're sliding with the intent of trying to draw a penalty.
Correct.
Instead of trying to avoid contact.
And I think it was Aikman or somebody else, maybe it was one of the panelists on one of the halftime shows or pregame shows, said something to the effect of, and I tend to agree with this, where it's like, once you become a runner, sorry, all bets are off.
I'm with it. Yeah, I agree.
All bets are once you've decided you're going to run the football, all bets are you're treated like a running back now. And I know they're trying to protect the quarterbacks because let's face it, fantasy football is big. If you don't have your star quarterbacks in there, you don't have as many fantasy football points. You don't have as much action. And then you'll have a number of people and they feel like, well, then viewership might go down and so will popularity. Well, too bad. I mean, it happens for both teams. I'm all teams have benefited at one time or another. It's not just one or two. It's not just Kansas City betting from it, but you see when Josh Allen does, Lamar Jackson, you list the quarterbacks. It does happen on all of them. So
I agree.
Yeah, I tend to agree. But we know how good Mahomes is. Allen and Lamar Jackson, and what they all have in common, they can all run the ball a little bit. I mean, Jackson can run it a lot. So can Allen. Mahomes picks his spots, but he's able to maneuver around. And then so does the Daniels character. And Jalen Hurts isn't bad either. And Darnold just wasn't that guy, right? I mean, he was a little more athletic, I think, than people gave him credit for. But he can't.
I wish he would have ran a little bit more.
But I don't think I just don't know if he's got the athleticism we know Cousins didn't, right? So with the McCarthy kid, you got a kid that, he's got a howitzer hanging from his right arm.
He can move around.
He can spin it, and he can move around and probably run a little bit. So, and I think that's just the way, I don't really think it's what do they call it? RPO,
run pass option.
That's not really what these guys are doing.
No.
Right? They're just.
Well, Lamar does a little bit of it.
Lamar does a little bit. But it's like when the protection is breaking down and there's nobody open, they're quick. They can get to a great jump right away, and they're crafty and they're fast and they can move around, and they're like in the case of Allen, he just puts his head down. He is like a running back. One of these days, he's probably going to get his head popped.
Well, he's still big and strong though. Like
right. That's it. That's what I'm saying. He's
when
like
he takes blows, it's not. Yeah, he's not taking it from a bigger guy.
Yeah. So
and it's not even just about running to get first downs, which helps. It's like even Lamar Jackson had one yesterday, even though they ended up blowing it on the 2-point conversion there.
Yeah.
Where he got out of trouble in the pocket, rolled out to his right, and they threw a 40-yard pass to Isaiah Likely down the field and got him into the red zone.
Yeah, well, because you're kind of caught. You got to have a spy of some sort, but then that just leaves you one less defender, and to drop back into protection, and you have to feel for the Andrews guy, right? Is that the guy's name? Mark Andrews. Is that first he gets stripped of the ball early,
yes,
and then. The 2-point...
And they just cross midfield there.
Yeah, they just cross midfield. And then they get the ball back. They get the tutty. It's 25 seconds or what left. They go for the 2-point conversion, of course, and it's right in his hands. I mean,
got to catch that.
Oh, yeah. It's right in his hands. And...
tough day for him.
It kind of reminded me of... do you remember the old Jackie Smith play when he played for the Cowboys? He was a long time tight. This must have been back in the 90s, I think, Tenna. And he had played for the Cardinals forever, and he was with Dallas, and it was the same thing. I don't think it was a 2-point conversion, though. I think because I don't even know if they were running the 2-point conversion. But he had one for a tutty that would have won the game in the back of the end zone. He's on his knees, and he hits him right in the chest. Just boom, drops it like that. Andrews didn't talk to the media after the game, by the way. He didn't want to.
Yeah.
And everybody stuck around. And, again, I mean, the guy's a great player. He really is. And so... I'm not one to feel too terribly sorry for $1 million athletes, but
that's one of those that lives in infamy right? I mean, it's our Gary Anderson and our Blair Walsh and
that's it.
Yeah, and our Brett Favre across the body. Like that's what that is.
That's exactly what that is, and it again. if you don't look at each individual instance, you say, God, Lamar just can't win in the playoffs. But like there, he had guided the team
Put him in position.
Brilliantly. That would have tied the game. They still may have lost in OT. But
well, that's what people are very simple when it comes to, well, if your team hasn't won in the playoffs, then it's on the quarterback, right? Like Josh Allen, up until yesterday, has had that same reputation. I go back to it every time. Josh Allen had them in position to beat the Kansas City Chiefs.
Right.
With 14 seconds left, and they got in the field. Like his defense blew it, and then they lost the coin toss. He didn't have a chance in overtime. Like he could not have played better in that game.
Correct.
So why are we giving him the knock on him of he can't perform in the playoffs? And Lamar he did throw some interceptions in that game.
He did indeed.
He did turn the ball over. He had a bad fumble.
I thought the most entertaining game of the weekend was Rams-Philly. Even though I was pulling Rams, I think we all hate Philadelphia fans, right?
Well, yeah.
I mean, I actually thought the football god was going to let the Rams win to punish Eagles fans for as ugly and ill-behaved as they are. But they found a way to win the game. And the reason I thought, I tweeted that a number of other people said they thought the Washington-Detroit game was more entertaining. Maybe some were saying it because they thought it was entertaining that the Kitties lost. But I think what they were saying is, because for me, there's just too much offense in that game and not enough defense, though. They're just, the Lions never stopped Washington, and Washington only stopped. The only time Detroit got stopped was when Goff made just.
Well, he had multiple.
He had multiple. He got
pick six.
Yeah. Well, again.
Well, that's the difference in all these games.
Yeah.
I know it's simple, and we've all said it before, but the big plays turnovers is.
Yes.
The team that was winning the turnover margin in all those games.
That's exactly right. And I saw again that there were some comparisons between Goff and Cousins, and I think those are a bit unfair. I think Goff's better than Cousins. I mean, now again, he only put up 3 points in the big game when the Rams lost to the Patriots. And last year, he had a critical throw when the Lions went for it on a 4th down late in that game against the 49ers, and it was incomplete, and they lost, the great comeback by San Fran. And then he wasn't very good Saturday night at all. He made some great throws, but he also had, the interception just before halftime is just inexcusable. It's just, you can't make that throw. He just did the defensive back timed it perfectly. The throw was half second late coming off of his hand, and the guy was able to get right in front of it. It was just awful. And then he threw the other one that was returned for a pick six. And that was another throw that's just, you can't make that throw. I mean, again, but it happens. But if you ask me, would you rather have Goff or Cousins? It's probably unfair to say that now because it looks like Cousins might be donezo for his career. But you look at what is Kirk's playoff record? 1-2. Goff's won several games in postseason play. Not all because of him, but he's won a couple with the Rams, and he won a couple last year with the Lions. I just think Goff's a better quarterback than Cousins. But getting back to the whole Viking thing, you got to give the kid his chance now, right? And for all the other reasons as well about what you'd have to probably pay Darnold to stick around. Though I thought somebody sent me those aggregate tweets where somebody claims that, and I didn't hear this anywhere else, that Darnold has said he really wants to stay here.
I'm sure he would if he was getting the right amount of money for it.
Yeah, right. But that's it. Will he stay if the money's not what he can get out on the year? Because the Vikings, I can't see them, and I would not recommend, as much as good as Darnold was for most of the season, those last 2 games stick out like a sore thumb. I mean, they were, especially the Kitties game. That was just really bad. And then the Rams game wasn't much better. So,
for me, for them to sign Sam Darnold to a long-term extension, right? We're not just talking about hey, we can get him for a year or two. You're quarterback for a year before JJ takes over. If you're going to give him a multi-year deal, 3-4 years, which is what I think he would get on the open market, that would say a lot about how they view JJ, and then that they've pulled a complete 180 on JJ McCarthy in the span of less than a year.
Yeah.
And I don't know what has really been done for them to have that 180 at this stage.
Yeah.
But they thought highly enough of him to at least move up one spot and give up equity and use a top 10 draft pick on him. And they thought enough of him where they wanted him to get looks against the Cleveland Browns first team in a joint practice. I don't know how he would have fallen so quickly after that.
How about and I got Viking fans got annoyed at me again because I did the old. Was this Verse guy available at 17 last year? And right away the purple protectors, the Wilf Wallow watcher me said, Turner's 3 years younger. Well, okay, age, it's great. And Turner might end up being a great player. He showed some real signs late. He got more playing time late in the year. And I think he's getting more comfortable in the pro system, and he's learning. I think he's going to be a great player. But that Verse guy is spectacular.
The knock on Dallas Turner, and we knew this when he was drafted, was he could be a little bit undersized. And so maybe a year later when he's had a chance to put on some muscle, and that's maybe that 3-year difference between him and Jared Verse had 3 more years to put on some man muscle. So, I am open to Dallas Turner improving off of this past season, but he's got to put some weight on him.
Yeah, but that Verse guy,
he's pretty good.
Really good. And apparently he annoyed the Eagles fans. Did you see what he said pregame? He was doing the old, I hate Eagles fans. I always have. I hate the Eagles. And then he went out in the field before the game, him and another couple of the linemen, and they started going back and forth with fans in the stands. Oh, yeah, he was agitating. And, Eagle fans probably were eating that stuff up because they like going back and forth.
Where's he from that he hates Eagles fans?
I think he's from Philadelphia. That's what I thought I saw. I don't know.
Huh?
Look it up and see where he's from. All I know is, I think he was just trying to get him going. Is probably what he was trying to do. He was knowing that they're playing the Eagles. He probably would have said that had they been playing at Detroit. It's just I want to get him going. He was.
Well, he's from Dayton, Ohio.
He was brilliant. He can flat out play. He's going to win Rookie of the Year.
Oh, but he grew up in Berwick, Pennsylvania.
Yeah, okay, that's what I thought I heard.
Is that on the Pittsburgh side of the state?
I don't know, but I know he said he hated Eagles fans, and the Eagles fans didn't like it none. Of course, they got the last laugh at the end of that game, but God, that was a fun game to watch. It's the snow game, right? Snow's coming down hard. Really good defense, good offense, yards hard. It's my kind of football, man. I really enjoyed that game, though I didn't really particularly care for the outcome. I was kind of pulling for Matty Stafford and the Rams. Though when you don't really have a dog in the fight, it's not that big of a deal. I think the 2 NFC championship games, the NFC and AFC championship conference championship games should be interesting. I don't know if how did Washington and Philly did Philly win both games against Washington?
I think Washington won the second one.
They won the second one. Okay.
Even the first one, I remember it being close.
Yeah, so it's a rubber match, and with the way Washington's played, though they did lose, I think their right guard for the season. Pretty good player from what I understand. I think he busted up his knee against Detroit, so he's donezo. But that's a good football team, man. They're fun to watch. They were.
So the Eagles won the first game 26-18.
Okay.
Washington won the second one 36-33.
Yeah. That's the first time I've watched Daniels play an entire game.
And the one Washington won, they outscored them 22-6 in the fourth quarter, so they rallied for that one.
Yeah. Well, Tenneby, I said this last week, a number of these teams, I'm pretty much focused on watching Vikings and Lions and the Packers. I'll catch a Bear game or two as well, but I'm mostly I'm mostly focused on those teams. So other than catching a highlight package of Washington, or when they go time for a game break, let's go to Melissa Stark or whoever it is, and then they go to her and they show the play. That's about all I've seen of Daniels. I was really impressed with him. I think they can beat the Eagles, but it remains to be seen. And then I just think the main event should be really good. It's at Burrowhead, but Bills Kansas City will be now. Because Kansas City is your favorite team, are you actively rooting for Kansas City in the game? See, for me, it doesn't matter. Neither game. I do like to have a team to root for, even though I don't need one. I'll be taking the 2 road teams. I'll be taking the underdog. I'll be pulling for Washington. I'll be pulling for Buffalo.
There's no doubt I'm cheering for Washington. Yeah. I think everyone listening on the air to this station right now will be cheering for Washington. I will cheer for Kansas City because I like them. I just find their brand of football entertaining. but I think Buffalo's going to win.
Why is that? Just think it's their year?
Kansas City has been winning and winning and winning, but it just has never looked convincing. They've looked beatable. They haven't looked invincible. And Buffalo is just, sometimes I just think it's like a destiny thing of Josh Allen. Josh Allen's the best player in football right now this season. I just think there just might be, I don't know, just different motivation. I'm not sure.
Well, people have been doubting Kansas City for most of the year. How many times during the year did we look at the power rankings and Kansas City kept slipping third, fourth, fifth, sixth? And I'm like, how are they not considered the best team in pro football? And your response was acceptable. You're looking at this year, not just there. You can't look at the entire. We're talking about right now, as we speak, at this moment in time, who's the best team. And because they were winning games by the skin of their teeth, they weren't looking dominant like they had. People were holding that against them. And I think Mahomes said it best when he goes, we know what we're doing. We're going to make the playoffs. We know that. And that's all we're trying to do. We're trying to win games, stay healthy, and get to postseason play. And that's what they did. I think Kansas City is going to win, but I'm pulling for Buffalo. I'd like to see Buffalo get a chance to break that 0-4 skid, because let's say they were to win the big game, Tennessee, then we're the only team in franchise history to be 0-4. That's something that goes back to what we talked about at the very beginning of the hour here. We'll wrap it up and put a bow on top. Either historically good or biblically bad. And so why not be the only 0-4 big game team? Let's take a break. We'll come back. That was a Peek at the Purple brought to you by Affordable Electric. Affordable-electric.com for all your electric needs. We'll pause and come back. 534, Tennessee, what you got?
Are you in the snow or no snow camp?